So we've talked about the fact that the lymphatic system is very similar. You can make the analogy of waste collection in your neighborhood. So if every one of these houses or these boxes are a house, that house produces waste. Some of our waste we flush down the toilet, some of our waste we recycle, and some of our waste we have to actually throw out of our house, our physical selves, okay? Well, the cell is exactly the same way. The cell actually is able to recycle a tremendous amount of material. We recycle amino acids, we recycle atoms, we recycle elements of different atoms, we recycle molecules, we recycle so much, okay? We recycle waste made from one reaction is needed to fuel another reaction. So we're pretty efficient about that. But we do create waste that is toxic. And just like the house, we have to put our garbage outside. Cells put their garbage outside of the cell. And the outside of the cell is surrounded by extracellular fluid. Okay? Each one of these individual cells is independent of the other. So what happens here in cell A is not necessarily going to impact what happens in cell B. If cell A breaks for some reason and stops functioning, cell B will still keep on functioning. Okay, that's what I mean when I say they're independent of one another. Now, what ends up happening here, as the cell creates waste, all these little orange balls are waste. Okay, they're molecules of waste. A lot of that waste is just broken down amino acids. We know that amino acids are used for making proteins. And all cells make proteins. So all cells use a lot of amino acids. Okay, this is just one type of actual cellular waste. Okay? The interesting thing about the extracellular fluid is that our body has evolved a way to clean this fluid, kind of like in a swimming pool. Okay, swimming pools have evolved ways to actually clean the water without removing it from the pool. And they do that by having some water sucked out of the pool to be filtered at the same time as dumping new clean water into the pool. Okay, the filters there's a couple filters in the pool, and then there's jets surrounding the pool that are shooting clean water back in. Your lymphatic system does the exact same thing. While actual waste is getting sucked in right here, dirty lymph is getting sucked in there, clean lymph is getting dumped back in up here. So this is simultaneous, and this is happening everywhere in your body. Okay? Now, here's the deal. In order to put new clean lymph back into the body, we've got to remove the waste from it. That happens in this specific area here known as the lymph node. And the lymph node's job is to actually suck out these little particles of waste, a lot of which are sometimes broken down amino acids, okay, and other cellular waste, not just amino acids. But amino acids are the dangerous ones because they have a nitrogen in them. And if left unchecked, that nitrogen is what can become toxic. Ammonia is toxic to cells. Ammonia is NH3, right? We don't want that in our cells. So what ends up happening here is you've got a blood vessel, okay, that goes along, and I'm just drawing it in red here because I drew my extracellular fluid in blue. So we got these blood vessels that go along, and they're just circulating blood, okay, doing their own thing. And these are so close to one another, okay, this actual area right here, they're so close to one another, and they're only a couple cell levels apart. They're only a couple cell levels apart. That means diffusion can occur, right? Where things go from an area of high concentration to an area of low concentration. So in the actual lymph, or in the lymph node, There's a higher concentration of these small waste particles than in the blood. So where does the waste want to go? It goes from the lymph node into the blood vessel. So all of these little bits of waste are now in your blood. Okay? Does that make sense? So this waste needs to actually be removed from your body. Okay? So this whole process, the whole point of this process, big picture in one sentence, your lymphatic and excretory systems work together to take waste from the cells and the extracellular fluid to get it out of the body. So that anywhere in your body, whether you're in your hand or your butt cheek or your foot, okay, or your scalp, that's not close to an exit point. And it allows for that waste to get from wherever it's made to an exit point from the body, coming out as urine. Okay? So here we go. We've now got this waste in the blood. And this is great because our blood, we've now left the lymphatic system and we're into the excretory system. This is how the two of them work together. So like we've said, we say that the lymph actually gets the waste, gets its waste removed in the lymph node, and through passive transport or diffusion and some active transport, okay, so actually paying some energy to move this over, this waste is dumped into the blood. Oh, look at that. It's now in the blood vessels. That blood is going to be pumped through the heart to the lungs, back to the heart. We don't care about that. During the systemic loop of the circulatory system, so when the blood leaves the heart and it goes to the body, that blood is going to always, every loop that blood actually makes throughout the body, it will pass through the liver and it will pass through the kidneys. So blood is constantly going through these organs. Okay, these organs see a boatload of blood. That's their job. Okay? What ends up happening in the liver is, in addition to other toxic substances in the body, the liver's job is to break things down from toxic forms to not so toxic forms. And it just so happens that the liver is able to take these amino acids, because each one of these little guys is an amino acid, and he's able to actually take these amino acids and he's able to break them down into different molecules. Mainly a molecule, okay, and I'm going to change the color slightly, okay, I'm going to make it a brand new color here, all right, and we're going to call this molecule, okay, all of these little guys, so this becomes this molecule is known as urea. Urea is a nitrogen-based molecule. It can stay in the system for longer than broken down amino acids can. Okay? It's a system, it's your liver going, okay, this molecule is super toxic. I'm going to change it up just a little bit through chemical reactions to make it slightly less toxic so it can go from me to the kidneys. So the liver dumps these molecules of urea back into the blood. And that blood makes its way to both kidneys. Doesn't matter which one, they both do the same thing. The kidney's job is to filter blood. Okay, our kidneys right here, they filter blood. They are going to remove certain things from the blood that, if they're not removed on a daily, hourly basis, could actually resort to the system as a whole shutting down within 24 to 48 hours. Okay, if your kidneys don't work, you don't survive. It's that simple. That's how important this filtration is. Okay, that's how important it is for this system as a whole to get rid of extracellular waste. Because remember, this has all been built from extracellular waste. And the kidneys are able to take this waste out, and they're able to combine it into other molecules. So the kidneys use urea, they use excess water, they use minerals, and they use hormones. And all of this gets mixed into this liquid, this yellowish liquid. And maybe I should have drawn the urea as yellow because it's what gives your pee that yellow color. But that gets filtered out and it gets dumped from the kidneys. Your kidneys kind of act like these funnels. Okay? And that funnel dumps into this holding area. These actual tubes that link the kidney to the bladder, the holding tube, these are your ureters. You got 2 of them. Your ureters dump into your bladder, and your bladder stretches until it can't take anymore, and then it sends a message to the brain saying, yo, I'm full, empty me. So that's when you get that sensation, oh, I have to pee. You will go find a place to relieve yourself, wherever that is, and you have a sphincter right here, and that sphincter will open up, and it will allow the urine to leave your body through that exit tube being the urethra. And that is how your body gets rid of cellular waste. Does that make sense?